welcome to Motormouth, brought to you by the Boyertown Museum of Historic Vehicles. I'm Kendra Cook.
Oh, I'm Dan.
Olson.
Dan Olson, yes, thank you.
And thanks everyone for joining us this month here on PCTV. We are sitting inside the 1938 Reading Diner, and I got to take a moment and thank everyone. If you joined us the other week for Fastnacht Day here in the diner, it was extremely popular. And
not only was it popular, I was at work, couldn't make it, okay, and there were no leftovers.
There weren't. We had to restock before the day was over. So we were really thrilled with the turnout. It was probably double of what we expected. So thank you for supporting the museum and coming out on Fastnacht Day if you were here. And if you weren't, well, that's a shame.
We'd have like a hoagie Saturday.
Okay.
For me.
You can have my hoagie.
Okay. Okay.
But we'll be back in the diner on April 7th, which is our next diner day. So get ready for the pie and coffee. And April 7th. That's 10 a.m. to 1. So that's a great event.
And we also have a Hoods Open weekend.
Yes,
right?
And before we get to that,
that's what that meant. Hoods Open.
I understood what you were going right away. On March 10th and 11th, that's a Saturday and a Sunday, we have Hoods Up weekend. So if you are into the engines and the motors and want to see how these old cars experimented with some things back in the 1900s and 19-teens, definitely come out those 2 days. And it's really simple. Basically, on Friday before we leave, we just go around and we open the hoods. Sometimes we have to take them off on pretty much all the cars and trucks out there. So when you come in Saturday and Sunday during our normal hours, 9:30 to 4, you'll be able to see the engines. And it's really popular. It's really neat. We're going to have lots of volunteers around to help answer your questions, or you can try to stump them too, which is always fun. And then we have homework if you stump us. And on Saturday of that, March 10th, we will be running a couple of the cars.
Oh, okay.
A couple times throughout the day. We'll have some of them running. I don't know which ones yet. Depends on which ones aren't giving us attitude at the time. So if you really want to hear them run as well, come out on that Saturday, March 10th. But Sunday's good too. You'll still get to see under the hoods on March 11th. So those are the big things going on. Again, if you or someone you know worked for the Boyertown Auto Body Works, we are looking for former employees. We're going to have a reunion here in May. So please do contact us if you or someone you know worked here, and we'd like to keep you in the loop about that. We'll be sending like postcard invitation type things. We'll be sending those out soon. So please do let us know. And again, if you want to get in touch with us here at the museum, we're open 7 days a week, 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., right here at 85 South Walnut Street in Boyertown. Give us a call at 610-367-2090, or drop us an email, mail, M-A-I-L, at boyertownmuseum.org. And now let's get to the meat and potatoes of tonight's show.
Meat and potatoes, we're in the diner.
We'll say you're the potatoes part of tonight.
Yes.
So what have you got for us? Actually, you gave us homework to do to prepare for tonight.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I did.
You
okay.
did.
And we're going to go see that homework. We're going to trot out here and take a look at a vehicle, a couple vehicles, three vehicles. And I'm going to be chatting about something on them. So.
All right.
Okay.
We'll meet
see
you
you
out
in a minute.
there. So Dan gave really the volunteers some homework, because I just delegated it to the volunteers then. But you gave us homework for this episode of Motormouth. So what are we looking at tonight?
It wasn't hard homework.
No, it wasn't.
I don't think.
No, it wasn't.
But it was homework.
It was homework.
Okay. I noticed on this car, which is a Detroit Electric here, 1919, it had something on it, and I got all excited, and it had so much paint on it I could hardly even read the thing. But on the hub here, it had Veeder, V-E-E-D-E-R, Okay, remember that
yes,
spelling.
because
Yeah.
I
Okay.
misspelled it.
Yes, you did. And but anyway, it's a hub odometer, and I was all excited with this car here because I've never seen one on a car. So I decided we're going to talk about it, and I figured the only way we can talk about it is if it gets some of the paint off and so on and so forth. The paint came off, so now we're talking about it. Did you get all that? Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, so these cars, this car in particular here, did not have a speedometer in it. It did not have an odometer, okay? And you know what an odometer is?
Yeah.
But in case you don't know,
But in case you don't.
Huh? Yeah, just in case you
Yeah.
don't, let me tell you what it is here, as soon as I can get my notes here, because I have a quote here. It says, the odometer is an instrument for measuring and recording in miles and tenths of miles the distance a car travels in making a trip. It also records the entire or total distance traveled in an entire season. Okay, so if you were here in our museum, you could get down on your knees, and I could do that, but I'd have trouble getting back up. So anyway, you look in here, and there's numbers. And it's an odometer. It tells you how far you've gone, and they can be reset and so on and so forth. This is a 1919 car, so, you know, we're going on that idea. Now, this one in particular, after we got all the paint off of it, we could read it better, but inside of it, behind this little glass disc where the numbers, the rotating numbers are, you can't read it because there's, I don't know, if water got in there, oil, grease, or whatever.
I don't know.
Schmutz, that's it. There's some schmutz
schmutz
there, okay? Electrical schmutz, because
Yes.
it's an electric car.
It's a technical term.
But the thing is, again, this car did not have an odometer. We get used to that today's cars and such, and this had one here. Now, we have a couple trucks, and you're going to be looking at them close up because they have really nice Veeder odometers. We're not going to walk over there. You're going to see the still pictures there. But again, they're electric things too. Now, on trucks, that's where they really wanted to know how much mileage the driver was doing and stuff. And they still have them. You see them on trailers, like tractor trailers. You look on the hub and they'll have a thing there, and I'll be mentioning that in a couple of minutes. Okay. Anyway, I went online on Google Books and I found a bunch of hub odometers. I mean, it's kind of a little niche thing, but they have a bunch. The first one's a transimeter. You're looking at a picture of it there by an American taximeter company, and as it says, they made meters for taxis also.
Another kind of car, you'd want to know how far it travels. I'm
Correct,
sure.
correct. Especially if you were a customer. You say, well, that's not right. Okay. So anyway, that records the mileage both forward and reverse, as most of them did. It was claimed to be collision-proof, waterproof, and oil-proof. Again, this is the Transimeter brand. This is 1914. They had a different kinds, $15, $16.50. They had a $20 one called the Dreadnought type Transimeter.
That sounds serious.
And I thought that was interesting. And, you know, I've heard that term Dreadnought before, but I figured I'd look it up and actually read the meaning for our viewers out there. Historical meaning of Dreadnought, a type of battleship from the early 20th century. So this is 1914. So battleship, you know, you wanted to use those terms. Yeah, tough.
Yeah,
okay.
tough.
It also had an
Don't get
archaic.
schmutz in it.
Had an archaic meaning here. Heavy overcoat for stormy weather.
No.
So I don't know as Dreadnought. So
I like
anyway,
the battleship
there's
better.
another one I have here, Stewart Hub odometer. This is for trucks. Most of these are for trucks. 1914. You've seen a picture of that too. Stewart was turned into Stewart Warner over a period of years, and I believe they're still around making gauges of all sorts. Back then they were making the same thing. But that was Stewart Warner Speedometer Corporation out of Chicago. Then you'll see a picture of the Coronet Spoke Odometer from 1914. And that's interesting. As you can see in the picture, this is bad because these spokes aren't quite the same type you see in the picture, but it would just fit in between the spokes and it would record as it's going to spin it around. That looked pretty fancy too. So I'll show you a picture of it later. I got pictures. Okay. Anyway, it said the Coronet Spoke Odometer is operated on the gravity principle and is accurate as long as the law of gravity holds true.
Oh.
That's something.
Yeah.
So if there's a failure of gravity, I guess your warranty runs out or something. I don't know. Being fastened between the spokes of the wheel near the hub, it cannot be injured by accident except the destruction of the wheel itself. And, you know, they're talking about that getting injured. And and I remember we had a recent show where we were talking about the safety fenders and
Yes.
about the vehicle getting
Yep.
injured. Okay.
Yep.
Not this show, though. Okay. Anyway, the next one we're looking at is a Knopf recorder, Knoph recorder, again, 1914. You see two pictures of it. You see one picture of the recorder itself, and that actually had a little paper tape in there, and it would record, it could record the speed, the time, and the distance. And, you know, and that's pretty neat. And the next picture you'll see is the tape itself. You know, I could explain what it means, but, you know, every time you see the line go up and down, I believe that was an hour's worth of time or something, or miles worth. I forget now without reading all the instructions. And, but that was interesting back then in 1914, how it was tamper-proof. If for some reason you saw the tape and you were a truck operator, says, you know, I don't want the boss to know I was just sitting with my truck for
Snip,
2 hours
snip.
here.
Yeah.
What was that?
Snip.
Well, the thing is, if you tried to erase it, it would leave a red smudge. So it was almost like a pressure-sensitive color.
Tamper-proof.
Yeah, and I thought that was pretty interesting. That's 1914. Then we come to the Veeder hub odometer, which again we're looking at right here on this Detroit Electric. But the first picture you're going to see is from 1902, and you look at that picture, you can see it's lined up with like a sprocket or a gear, so that whole thing would fit like inside here and run pretty much like a speedometer would have back then, and it would be in there, and it was all mechanical how it worked. And that's 1902. It says, how can you tell how far you've gone unless you look at your Veeder odometer? It says it shows your mileage, when to oil the wheels, distance between points of travel, how far you can go on one filling gasoline, so on and so forth. So that was that. And the next picture you see is 1906 or 07. That was a Veeder tachodometer. I never heard that term before. Tachodometer, it makes sense. It's a tachometer, which tells the revolutions of the engine, and an odometer, which tells your mileage. But they don't use tachometer in that term. It's actually a speedometer. And you look at it, and it's, let's see, there's a little pump with a reservoir on the bottom of this speedometer. And the faster you make the speed, the little paddle wheel and that pump goes, and it pumps up this column of fluid, which I guess is mercury. It looks kind of like a thermometer almost.
Yeah,
and
probably.
it's all spelled out how fast you are going. And it has a little indicator, shows you how far you've gone too, little thing. And that's not a wheel or a hub odometer, but it would be inside the car, but it was unique enough. I figured I'll throw that in there. Okay. Standard one would be 40 miles an hour. That was the maximum, but you could get a 60 and 80 mile an hour one too. And that was $75. And then 1912, there's another one that you see the advertisement for from Veeder. It's the makers of cyclometers, odometers, tachometers, counters, and small die castings. And the cyclometers or cyclometers, they were the same thing, but for bicycles. I forgot to look if we have any on our bicycles, but that would be pretty
Homework.
cool. But that was 1912. That's $25 if you wanted one of those, like you see in the advertisement. Now, I got to tell you, I forgot about this until right now. We have a machine at work that it measures yarn or thread coming off of it, and it goes through a Veeder.
They're still around.
Yeah. Well, they are still around, but this machine is like, I don't know, 50 years old. Am I right? Okay. And yeah, it's pretty old, and nobody likes that machine anyway.
Oh.
So anyway.
Veeder's not getting a good rep here.
But Veeder is still around. I found there's two different Veeder companies, and they're now called Veeder Root. both of them. And I'm thinking, boy, that's confusing. Okay, one of them makes odometers, hub odometers. That's what you see on a trailer,
on the
tractor
trailers.
trailer.
Yep.
And there can be a mechanical thing or electronic, which is kind of interesting. And the other Vita route, I noticed this. I was getting gas at a Wawa station a couple months ago. I'm standing there pumping the gas in, and I look right on the pump. There it is, Vita route. And you think of it, they're counting the amount of gallons and the price and all that stuff. So
I'll
they're
have to
very
look
involved
next
with that.
time I
Yep.
get gas.
Yeah. So. So that's it.
Now, we have, all of ours are Viters.
Correct.
Right,
they
then
are.
we have this one, to go to the museum, this one, and you saw, I guess, like stills of the other two.
Right.
But they're also both on electric trucks.
Correct.
Is there a reason all of ours are on electrics? Is that just a coincidence? Do you think?
No, I think there's one on a gasoline-powered truck
Oh,
too.
we do, okay.
But it's so grungy you can
It's
hardly
not
tell.
even-
Yeah.
yeah,
But the
it's
ones
not
on the electric trucks, which are the CT trucks, they're really clear.
They're
You
really
can
nice.
Really read
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So to come in and check those out. 'cause
Yeah.
They're neat.
Yeah. You come in and for
Come in
hoods
on
up,
hoods up
Yeah.
and look for the hub
odometer,
odometers.
yeah,
Yeah,
up odometer, yeah.
yeah.
And so and that's it.
Okay.
So
All right. Well, with that, we're going to move into the lobby.
I just had a thought. Can I interrupt here? One last thought. Okay, now you had the people here. Why would they really care how far they went? But and this is another reason you have to come visit, because I'll only give a little hint here. But we have a book on display, and I think we have another one in our library, that if you wanted to go somewhere, you look it up in the book, and it would give you directions by tenths of miles. So if you wanted to go from Boyertown to Reading, for instance, it says, okay, you go out this road, and you go, 5/10 of a mile, you come to the railroad track. Or you go 7/10 of a mile, you had to
Turn
make
left,
a left turn.
yeah.
Yeah, and so on and so forth. So you would have your odometer. Now this wouldn't be too handy, because you had to have
keep
somebody
getting out of the
running
car.
out of the car. And not only is it going, but it's also rotating. So but that's where your odometer would come
Yeah.
into. Yeah.
Yeah, it's essential for that.
Yes. So I had to throw that in. Okay. Now
And
you
it happens to be, when you come and see, it's in the case behind
Yes.
the CTs with the hub
Odometers,
odometers.
yeah.
So it's in a perfect spot for it. Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, well, now we're going to go in the lobby, which we don't go in there very
No, we don't.
often, but we've got a nice collection of cars in there that are on loan to us, and we are going to go speak with the family that owns them and get some cool stories.
Yep.
So we will meet you in the lobby. All right, well, we have moved into the lobby here at the museum, and if you've been here the past few months or so, you'll notice that we've had a really neat collection here of American Austins and Bantams. And we have that collection courtesy of the Rollins family, and we have two members of the family here with us tonight to tell us a little bit about the cars. Justin, Jimmy, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
I don't even know where to begin, because we've got 6 cars from your family here tonight. So maybe we'll just start even before the cars. Why Bantams? Why has your family been into the Bantams and the Austins?
It really started back with my grandfather, Ed Rollins. He saw, the story goes that he went to Reading High, and he saw the kids carry a Austin Roadster up the steps of Reading High.
As soon as you said about high school, that's what I was saying.
Yeah. I mean, they're small cars. You can
Yes.
pick them up. They're like,
Sure.
they're 1,000 pounds or something. You get a couple big football players, you can pick these things up.
Yeah.
And so that's the story we heard that. And supposedly it was Corbett. There was a dealership in Reading,
Okay.
and it was his. He sold Austins, and it was his daughter's car. Supposedly they carried up the steps. And he always thought they were neat cars. Steyer S'more's Junkyard had one sitting up as their billboard, their sign.
Okay.
And he always wanted that car and never got a chance to buy that. And just through, he was into Buicks and stuff like that. And just through the car collecting community, found about actually that blue one over there. He found with another Austin that we still have, and just started snowballing from there. I thought they were cool cars. Liked the fact they were made in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why we like them too.
Yeah.
You know, the ones you see here, 2 of them are the museums, but, you know, it's just a neat story behind, you know, the Bantam and such, so.
Yeah.
So they're made, Butler, Pennsylvania is where they made them, and it's kind of an offshoot of the Austin from England, correct?
Yeah, yep. It's what they call a mirror image. The body is not the same. They wanted to bring it over and Americanize it, but motor, frame, a lot of that stuff is identical, just opposite side.
Right, okay.
So yeah.
And, go ahead.
No,
Oh.
sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, you know, they're well known in history because, you know, maybe we're jumping ahead here, but, you know, come World War II time, you know, they're the ones who designed the Jeep and so on and so
Yeah.
forth, but they weren't big enough to, you know, to produce that many.
Their size has always come back to haunt them.
Yeah.
Whether it was the production size or the size of the car, that was always something that always kind of nagged at their existence, really.
So,
Well, yeah, you compare them to other 30s cars,
They're tiny.
and they're quite small. Which,
compare
of
them to your
course,
car.
they're
Your car's
close
about
to
the
my
size,
car.
yes, yeah.
That's why I like the truck behind us.
Okay.
It reminds me of my car. But yeah, I mean, no one wanted a compact car in the 30s.
Yeah, the fuel
But-
fuel economy wasn't a big thing back then. Even with the Depression, it still didn't.
Really?
Because I mean,
Yeah.
the
You would
price was
think.
still about the same as a Ford.
Oh, okay.
You know, Ford
So
was still about the comparable price.
So what was their first year?
It technically was 30. It was
30.
30. They were making
Okay.
them in 29, the Austins, but 30 was the first.
So they kind of were introduced with the Depression almost,
Yeah.
and but you say the price was about the same.
The price was really comparable to a Ford, so it was like, well, why? You know,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
no one was, you know, gas wasn't, there was no gas shortage. They still didn't seem to care about the price of gas. I guess people just either weren't buying cars in general at that point, but, you know, Ford survived, so.
Okay, yeah, and this company didn't.
Yeah.
So why don't we take a look at some of the cars? We could start with the 2 right behind
Oh,
you.
yeah, we got the race
They're
cars.
Race cars. Race cars are always cool.
That's something that we've, our family has shifted our gears towards here in the last 20 years or so. We started racing ourselves, and this actually, we bought this in, I think they were around 76 when we got these. Not exactly sure how my grandfather came about them. My dad would know more about when we got them, but these were, I think the blue one was bought at an auction, but it was popular to make midget race cars. You know, open wheel dirt cars were real popular then, and the Austins were kind of suited for that with their size.
Right.
You know, suspension, I would say maybe you wouldn't want to do it, and the motors weren't always as powerful, but they were lighter cars.
Right.
And they were very easy to turn into race cars.
What size motor does like these have, for instance?
These have like a 7. It's a 4-cylinder. It's a 4-cylinder. This is probably, the Austins have about 14 horsepower.
Okay.
So yeah, they're
Wow.
they're not 50 horsepower cars. Like they're, you know, doing 55 mile an hour is like, you know, you got to get a good gust of wind and going downhill.
You know, back in this era, I'm not sure exactly when these cars were built into race cars, but you read back in the 30s and 40s, they were putting any kind of engines in cars and racing them. You know, motorboat engines and
Yeah.
you know, so on and so forth. And so, you know, 14 horsepower, I guess, you know, that was the norm.
Yeah. I mean, there's some cars, you know, a lot of cars had more horsepower, but the size of this engine, I think, is what really made it ideal for the racer.
Right.
You know, it had a starter, all that stuff, and it was easy for these guys to put it in. It wasn't a very big package.
So, and you were saying something not about race cars in general, but this one in particular, you're trying to get this certified by AACA,
Yes.
which is the big car show at Hershey, by the way, and you were having trouble because...
Yeah, we don't have documentation of what this car looked like. This is our rendering of this car. We built this car, my grandfather and my dad and my uncle built this car, redid this car in 76.
Okay.
They got it like this, I believe it might have been white.
Okay.
And we painted it, pretty much we painted it to our preferences.
Right.
The number 5 came on because my Aunt Lace was 5 years old at the time.
Okay.
So they liked the number 5.
Mm-hmm.
We would like to find out more about the original car. We've picked up some hints and clues of where it might have come from, but we haven't got any leads because at AACA you need actual pictures of it on the track. And technically it gets in on a technicality because it was in an old timers race at Williams Grove, both of these in 1982.
Okay.
So it gets in on, like, they get in on that, but they're listed as 1982s.
Right, and we
So
can see that would.
Yeah, this
Clearly.
is a 34.
Yeah. And I think, again, to kind of drift away from the Bantam subject a little bit, but the certification of race cars that they have, and I think that's neat because that's part of preserving the history.
Yes.
Is through that documentation certification. And so, okay, so you got both of these, and I see this orange one's bigger than the blue one.
Yeah.
So,
The blue one is cut down a little bit. It's tough to get in. Justin, you've got in it.
I've got in it, and I tell you, there's no room. You're really, really compact in there, so I don't know how anyone could actually race in that. But my father actually has.
Wow.
Yeah, he has a story where he actually had his, on the drive shaft, has actually had his shoe caught, and it ripped his shoe and sock off.
okay, well, yeah.
I believe
better
that.
than
So
get-
he always said about running that. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I like my shoes.
Once
so-
was enough.
Yeah, we don't need any of that.
Now that one has a little extra something on the floor underneath it, actually,
Yes.
which is it's not falling apart. So
That's actually a tow bar.
Yes.
We hooked it to that car.
I'm going
'cause-
to walk over here.
Yeah.
okay.
The tow bar on it, Justin, if you want to pull it out. This is actually a Bantam factory tow bar. It was used to tow the station wagons to Mifflinburg, the body company, to get bodies put on.
So that would just be the chassis of a car
Yes.
going up there.
Yep, and they actually pulled it with a Bantam.
Okay.
And now the Bantam, by the time Bantam came around, because these are both Austins, they had a bigger motor. It was a 22 horsepower. Yeah, not a lot, but
It's bigger than 14.
Percentage-wise, it's a big boost for what it had.
But it was not a tow motor.
It was not made to tow, but
So,
what they would do was they had this turnbuckle here that this thing will slide into. Justin, can you slide it in there? Turn it on. And that would lock in like that, and now this controls the steering. It's hooked to the steering of the car, so wherever the lead car goes, the trailing car is following it.
okay. And that just clamps onto the
This
bumper?
all it does is clamp onto the bumper, and it's got safety chains just in case the bumper would fail. But that's how they did it. And then there's a really trick piece, and this is very rare in the Austin Bantam community. This is the only one known to exist. But there's also a throttle control piece that I've seen it. We're looking for it. We'd love to have it to match to this. But when they would go up hills, because again they're not made to tow, they would actually have.
And it is Pennsylvania.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So they would actually have a way to kick the chassis that they're towing, turn the motor on, kick the motor on, start it, and have that and throttle control that to help pull them up the hill.
Self.
So yeah, it was
That is just so neat. I remember when you mentioned that when you brought the cars. I said, wow, that's really neat.
Yeah, and we've gone to shows with this setup on this car, actually with our Speedster over there, pulling it just around the parking lot because it's cool. I mean, we actually really should put it on the orange car and hook it up to the panel truck because it would probably match better. But yeah, no, it's a very neat piece of history. We're very excited to have that.
Wow.
Okay. Okay, so that's the race car. Then we have some cars here in behind us here. And so, so again, what are these? I mean, I know what they are.
Yeah, this right here is the 1930 Austin Coupe. This is the start for our family. Purchased in 1966. Believe. I want to say it's right near about a mile from Lincoln Speedway.
Okay.
And
Pigeon Hills.
Yeah, and my dad said it was always funny because they went to, him and my family would go to Lincoln Speedway every Saturday night. And they found this, and it's a match to it that we still have, that we haven't restored yet. A mile from Lincoln Speedway. And it's just crazy that they've been going all those years and didn't know that these were so close. But yeah, my grandfather, actually it's been restored twice.
Okay.
First time it was restored, it won awards, but it didn't win what we were hoping to win within the Austin Bantam Club, and I think at Hershey. And then we went back, my dad and my grandfather went back and redid it, I believe 76, 75, and they won. They won the senior with it. They won what is in the club called the Roy Evans Trophy. Roy Evans was the guy that resurrected Bantam. It took Austin and made Bantam.
Okay, so you're saying the restoration of this is over 40 years old now?
Yes.
It's in mid-70s, yeah.
Yeah, all of them really in the mid-70s. 70s is about when my family did them.
Wow, it's held up pretty good.
Yeah, no, we've tried to keep, help it along, but it's not easy.
There's a lot to keep up.
Yeah.
Because this is not all of them, right?
No, I would say that we probably had the largest collection of Austin and Bantams of anyone out there. I'd say, I think we sat down and did a rough count, and we have probably about 20 cars. And they're all in various stages. I personally own 2. My dad owns a handful. My grandfather owned most of them. Now my grandfather passed away in 1988. And now it's all, they're my grandmother's now, but they're still within the family. That's all, so it's a conglomerate of all of our stuff. It's probably about 20 cars between my dad, my uncle, myself, and my grandmother.
Wow.
You got any?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
I promised somebody something else first.
Oh, okay.
I think if I came home with one now, without this first, she would let me sleep in the bed.
But the thing is with these, they're all small, so you can really pack them in. I'm thinking, we sit here once in a while, says, okay, a special display in the lobby, and figure, okay, how many vehicles can we fit? Well, I'm looking, there's 8 of them in here now. We could fit probably another half dozen. Still walk around,
Yeah, these really are, just their size and everything. It's if you think about, almost a little bit ahead of their time. You see cars nowadays, they're trying to get smaller and smaller.
Trying to go back to this.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I always tell people that history does repeat itself, and sometimes you learn by some of the old stuff.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so about this
Well, the one question. So now you said your grandfather passed away in '88, but you've added to the collection since then. So this is still going on.
Yeah, it didn't
That's
stop.
cool.
It
I
really
think
has kept going through the family.
Yeah.
And not just me. Now it's I'm trying to get involved. My cousins.
Yeah.
It really keeps growing.
That's cool.
And it's probably the love of the vehicles, has been instilled on you, but it's also like a family thing,
Yeah,
I can just see at Christmas, you sit around the Christmas tree and talk about Bantam.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving, you sit around the table and
Austins
talk
and
about
Bantams,
and
I fit a few under the tree.
I was actually named. My middle name is Austin because of these. So I always tell people I was named after them. So it's in my blood from the start.
okay.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. So now this is the Austin, and then we move down, and we get to Bantam. So. The change. Well, why the change? Because it really is the same company. So to speak.
Yes, I'll be probably the first to say, really the difference when you look at them is the grills.
The grill.
It's a joke. When we were little, that's the way we kind of learned the difference between the two, because that's easy to differentiate from a kid. Just looking at the grills, the Austins are flat, the Bantams are round, and you can probably go in a little more detail with that.
Well, it's a styling cues. You can see with the Model A's and all that stuff, the flat grills, and then everyone starts getting into the more aerodynamic shapes, the 30s and 40s.
More of an Art Deco kind of feel to it,
and that's when Austin went bankrupt, and Roy Evans got them out of bankruptcy and started Bantam. Wanted to update the look of it and kind of get it updated, and they did a good job of taking what they had and really being different, but still being the same.
And the same essence, I guess.
Yeah. And so they did a good job. Like I said, I always liked the Bantams. I always thought they were neater. But yeah, like when I was 5 years old, everyone was always amazed that I could tell the difference from an Austin. My grandfather was so proud because he could walk me. We could go to the Austin and Bantam Club meets, and I could sit there and point out, and he was so proud that I could figure that out. But you know, it's growing up with them,
Now, is the engine? Did they change the engine,
they
or is
upgraded
that kind of the
engines.
same?
That's the other thing that this has a lot more gear-driven pieces. They say the Austins have a unique sound of their own with all the gear meshing inside, and it does sound different. And especially like the transmission, it's straight cut gears. So when you're shifting, you got to get the RPMs just right to click it into gear, or the whole world hears you grind them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure.
So the Bantams, they upgrade that. They put the synchronized gears in, so they go into gear a lot better. The motors were built stronger, and they did another revision to them in late 39 to make the motors even stronger, strengthen the cranks up and all that stuff. They added a third main where there were just two mains before. Okay. But yeah, no, they upgraded the horsepower. It went, like I said, from 14 to 22. Just stuff like that, just to kind of get them up to speed with what it was all going on with everyone else's cars. And like I said, they did a good job, but it was too little too late.
Yeah, yeah. We read that story a lot with all these car companies in the beginning, too little too late.
I mean,
they had a pretty long life, really, considering,
I
think.
The Austin, in England survived quite well. But I think over there it wasn't about, the Americans and their big cars. I mean,
yeah. The streets are narrower over there.
It seems like in a lot of foreign countries, England included, this was the normal size of car. Whereas us, we just
Big, huge things.
Yeah, I mean, I sit there, I love these cars, and I have a huge passion for these cars, but I drive a Cadillac Escalade. It's big. and I like big. I have other than these cars, we do other things. We have Corvettes, we have Chevelles, a lot of Chevelles. It's just like restoring cars, old classic cars is kind of like our family's thing. That's what we do.
Cool.
But these always had a special place because they're delicate compared to the big muscle cars that we have and other stuff like that. But they're it's still challenging to drive them. Like this, I drove this on the tour. We hosted an annual national meet in West Wyomissing this year, or in 17, and I led the tour with this car, and it's challenging to drive, but it's fun. Like I love a challenge. Like I love driving in snow because it's a challenge. Yeah. So these are always fun to drive because you just can't jump in and just go. You gotta really understand them.
Huh.
So, and I like this one here. I like the wheel covers, the fender skirts.
Yes.
I don't know, what's the technical name?
This is a Bantam Riviera. This is the elite of the Bantams. This is the deluxe model. This it's got the really nice seats in it. It's got the really nice chrome trim on it. It's the wood a fake wood grain dash.
A genuine fake.
Yeah.
That's
genuine imitation.
Yeah, that's kind of this. I've actually never seen this car with the top down on it. We've always just left the top on it just because it looks so.
It looks sharp.
Yeah,
I like
so
it.
we've always had the top up on it, but the top does go down. It's like I said, it's the nice one. It's got the wheel covers. Not all of them had the fender skirts on them. The Roadsters did, like the one over there. Those I believe always had the fender skirts on. But a lot of the coupes, I don't think that one does.
No. Nope.
And the panel truck over there doesn't. But yeah, it was the more decked out model of these. And and actually it's been debated, but that is actually the factory color, and it ironically matches a '93 Mitsubishi 4Runner Mitsubishi.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, it's this is a favorite of mine. I know my brother really loves this car. But it's a really cool piece. We enjoy this one a lot. We enjoy this one. These are the two best ones that we own. And again, this is a 40-year restoration. You know, this one won the Roy Evans Trophy. It's national first prize. Actually, yeah, there it is. Senior national first prize in 1975.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's about when this one.
Yeah, I believe we redid this one. This one, let's say, yeah, 76. So that we redid this one after this one. After we won with this one, we went back and redid this.
Okay.
So yeah, this is, like I said, these two are the best ones, and they're a 40-year restoration. They're getting a little, they're showing some age, but we're probably going to start working and repainting them and getting them.
I was just going to ask that. You know, are you going to?
Yes, we because it eats me up a little bit that they're showing their age, because I remember seeing them in the late 80s when they were still in their prime and they were still really good, and so we're working on that. They're an easier restoration. They're complete. They're all together. It just needs to be brightened up.
Yeah, touched up.
Yeah.
Where do you get parts from them? I mean,
It's tough. I mean,
that's
definitely the toughest part, getting parts.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really, I think that's why we have so many. Is because man, we need a fender for that Austin. So you find someone that's you look for one, but no one's selling just a fender. But hey, I got this car over here I want to sell. Yeah. All right, well let's get the car. So I mean, that's kind of I think how we end up with all the cars.
Cars are usually finding parts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's worked out well. But yeah, but the club is very helpful. The current president of the club, he actually makes some retaining clips and things like that you can't find. Like there's retaining clips for the headlights, and he'll make some of those. And the club's really helpful on finding stuff to fix things. If you're having a problem, they'll help you out with, hey, this is what we've done to help to work this. And really, even some parts, like I said, the English Austins share parts.
Okay.
So I've actually gotten pistons for my Bantam Roadster from England.
Okay.
They're metric, but it's the same. They still fit and they still work.
And did they make a lot more of these types of Austins in England?
There's a lot more English Austins made.
Okay.
So that's kind of why you can, but the problem is if you need body parts, there's nothing the same. But engine stuff you can find.
Now, what's interesting? This is an Austin here, and that's a Bantam there. But my eye keeps going to this right here.
Yes.
It's a Bantam Rooster on the Austin.
Yes, that was. I mean, if you look at the Austin logo, it's got the Bantam on there.
So the Bantam, the Rooster, the Bantam Rooster came before the name.
Bantam name.
Yes, that's kind of why they went to Bantam, because it wasn't Austin. They didn't have to pay the royalty rights.
Right.
And they could go and it was a car of its own, and they were already marketing with the Bantam Rooster.
Right. Okay. Huh. Okay. So what about this maroon car? Can you tell us something about this?
This is kind of like our family fun car.
What? The family fun car?
Yes. This is. I don't know if anything on this car is factory correct. This is kind of. It actually had Chevy Vega wheels on it.
Ooh.
Okay.
These are Bantam wheels on, but it did have Chevy Vega wheels.
How about that?
As you'd put on a Bantam, right?
It makes it look a little beefier. Makes it look a little different. But we've had fun with this car. It's actually got a cow horn on it.
Okay.
And when I was probably 8 years old or so, we were at Austin Bantam Club meet, and we hit the cow horn driving past a pasture of cows, and they ran with us. It was for like a 7 or 8 year old. It was a little scary.
I was gonna say exciting.
So this is sort of the same design as this blue one, as in there's a roof, but I noticed the doors are cut down. So
yes, this is actually what they consider a 4-door roadster.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got the small roadster doors. It's really a roadster from the front seat forward.
Okay.
And then it's just got the back seat, like.
You said a 4-door?
I'm sorry, a 4-passenger.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I'm
counting doors.
Yes, sorry.
here.
No, this is a 4-passenger
right. Okay.
roadster.
Whereas that one is.
This one is a 4-passenger, but this is what they consider
It's not a roadster.
they consider it's almost like a convertible coupe.
Got it.
Because it's got the
Yep.
the solid windshield frame, all that stuff. This has got the fold down windshield frame like the
Okay.
Roadster. So yeah, that's they consider this more of a Roadster.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, let's see, there's one other vehicle left. And I gotta say, these two cars here, this
Yes.
blue yellow one, these are the museum ones. And,
Yes.
And I wanna say, you're saying about driving one of these cars here and how, you know, stuff. We had this car at the Philly Car Show, and when it was time to leave, I was the passenger, okay, and the guy driving is about my height too. And I don't know how we both fit in that thing. You know, once you were in, it was tight, but getting in and out, it was
Is the
tighter
tough
than
part?
tight.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
there's no getting out.
I mean, if I was a contortionist, maybe it'd be okay. I'm not, and I never was, so.
Trust me, if anything that's bad, try the blue race car.
We'll make sure the camera's rolling.
That's a challenge. and another one, I've sat in this one too, and you know, I'm just under 6 foot, and the top of the windshield frame is right at eye level. And
Yeah.
So, you know, it was either up
Yeah,
or down,
yeah,
so
And
it was
the
made for you.
Yeah, pretty much, it was.
actually had a shorter windshield frame.
Oh, okay.
Just a little bit, but yeah, they actually, the Austin ones were actually smaller because
Oh my gosh.
I have an Austin Roadster that we're restoring, I'm planning to restore. And that's actually, I think they look a little bit cooler, like from the cowl back, because they got that shorter, and it's got a V windshield. It's neat. I like the Austin Roadsters.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about this orange truck over
Yeah,
there.
this is.
This is my favorite.
This is my
this
favorite
this
too.
This is actually a lot.
You know,
of,
when
a
these
lot of
guys
shows.
pick the cars up to take them home,
Yeah.
hide this in a closet.
Yeah, it's not hard to hide.
I thought maybe you'd be hiding in the back to go along.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, this one's neat. This is my favorite too.
But yeah, this car we found, my dad found. He had said he had known about it for 10 years, and he actually bought it, I would have to say in the mid-'80s, late 80s, probably somewhere around there. It was in the ad was in the Philadelphia Inquirer. He knew the car existed, and it was in Philadelphia, New Jersey area.
Never available.
Yeah, never
Yeah.
really available, and finally it became available, and it was in the paper. Then it was with two other Bantams, and he went there, bought it. It didn't have a front end on it. It was missing the driver's side door, and it was missing the motor too. So we brought it back. It actually sat in our one warehouse we have for probably a few years. I mean, when I was little, I always remember sitting in the corner of the warehouse and just being like, "Oh, there's a car."
There's a truck.
And
Half
my
a
dad,
truck.
He decided to get it out, and we had a motor for it. We put the motor in it, got fenders put on it, door, and it was ready to go. Like, it was really just about ready. And but yeah, it's an actual delivery truck from Instant Whip, Philadelphia area. It when we got it, the windshield that was in it had a PA state inspection sticker from 1948. So I'm assuming it was on the road till 47, 48, that range. And yeah, but we don't know much more about it.
And you say this is a 39?
This is a 39.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I like the lettering here, and I like
Yeah.
all the original.
Yeah,
paint.
it's got the original patina on it.
Yeah.
It's a shame that the rest of the fenders and stuff don't match it exactly because they're different
Newer.
pieces we put on.
Yeah.
And at the time when we restored it, it wasn't really the thing to do to make it look older. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't, nowadays everyone tries to make their cars have that old
Yeah.
patina to it. It doesn't have that.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the show, like original and is now like coming back, or
Yeah.
the people see that as being more important now. And yeah, it's
But,
interesting how that
but no,
changes.
the number on there,
There's
the
a number one.
That's all original. We never touched that.
So cool.
Even though Instant Whip lettering, we never touched. I'm shocked that lasted that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, we contacted Instant Whip, asking them questions and stuff. But Instant Whip's kind of I don't know, it's almost a franchised out company, and it's really hard
Right.
to get a hold of anyone that's really interested in. Because there's an Instant Whip right on in Blandon,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excelsior Drive.
Yeah. So what is Instant Whip?
Instant Whip is like a cream, like a whipped cream, your different dairy product type thing, and they would sell it. From what I've read up on, I haven't really read a lot on it, but it's like this dairy kind of company that they would sell to stores and things like that. I don't think this was, like you said, a door-to-door delivery truck.
No.
But probably
Store
a delivery truck
delivery.
to stores, your grocery stores and mom and pop shops like that.
Yeah.
Even probably restaurants and things.
Mm-hmm. Just a neat little.
It is.
It is. It's a really cool piece. We really enjoy this truck a lot. It's a fun little thing, and
It's so cool.
yeah, it's.
Don't get too excited, Kendra.
I know.
I'm the one.
It's
keeping it.
orange and small. It's like perfect for me.
I was just going
love
to
it.
put it on a shelf at home on display.
I love it.
Yeah, we've talked about going through and totally restoring this, but it's fairly original, and it's just we don't want to ruin it. Like you're
Yeah.
at this point, it's like, I don't really
Yeah.
want to ruin it, because even like the president of the Austin Bantam Club, he has a panel truck, and he actually came over to this because we haven't touched it. We put body pieces on that were missing, and he was measuring stuff on the back of this for his with the wood that's in the bed, because it's the closest known car that's not been touched.
Right.
So that's the one thing nice about with my family. We do have some cars that are survivor cars, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few cars that we have that are in our garages that haven't been touched. They've aged and they've weathered and they haven't fared so well, but they're still in the condition they are. They're correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's a helpful tool for us, like when we go to restore, because I use this for checking the wiring on my Roadster. I bought a new wiring harness, and I was trying to figure out how they're actually run.
Okay.
And this has got the wires run the way it's supposed to be. So I kind of just followed that and tried to mimic what that did.
I was just talking to somebody recently, and they have an all original something, and I can't remember what it is now. And they said, that people come up to them, don't do anything, and they're all over the car, measuring and seeing the way things are connected, because, I know there's people out there that think, well, you don't have to get it that authentic, but I can see that. I can see people wanting to get it like it was made from the factory. And that's important. That's all part of history, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I really like being correct. Like, I think it's a challenge to me, with the cars that we've done. I know my dad and my grandfather, my uncle, they really did some great work with Corvettes, with 61 Corvette that they had, and they redid it. They put a lot of work into that to get it correct and really win shows with that. And I like that. It's tough, but it's not easy, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now I see we only have a few minutes left. So what is next on the horizon for your family as far as Bantams? You got to get a Bantam Jeep, right? Is that on the horizon?
That's like one of the holy grails. They're tough to find, and when you do, they're really expensive. There's a guy in Texas I know that has one or two.
Or 3 or 5 or 10. You got a bunch of them, I understand.
Is there? Okay, I knew he had
think
like
it's
two.
the same guy.
Okay.
It has to be.
Okay, yeah, probably. And one of our friends that lives in Tampa, Florida, just Fort Myers, Florida, he has a factory Bantam Jeep that they use as a fire truck.
Wow. And then at the factory, okay.
Yeah, it was like the factory's fire truck. That's how they put fires out or whatever at the factory. And so those are cool ones, and those we'd love to have a Jeep. That would be a huge part of history to have.
And isn't there also a little panel truck with no roof over the driver?
There is a Boulevard delivery. Yes. We have a body for one.
Oh, okay.
And
Good.
that was my grandfather's whole big plan in this whole thing, was to have every body style that they made.
Okay.
An example of
And
each.
I think we're missing an Austin pickup truck.
Okay.
I think that's one of the ones that we're missing.
So the thing is, if we come across one, somewhere, And they could be anywhere because they're little again.
We found 2 Austin frames and parts for an Austin in Pottstown. A guy was selling them. He had gotten into it, and just like happens with every collector of cars, lose interest.
Too many projects.
Got other things that they're more important to them, and they wanted to sell the stuff. And we were fortunate enough within the club, someone found out like, hey, you guys are in Reading, you're really close. You want to go check it out? And we checked it out, and like, oh, yeah, and we ended up getting this stuff. But it was a lot of parts, and that's good for us because, again, you can't find parts.
Yeah.
You can't just go to your auto parts store and get a starter for these. I've been there. I've had to get mine rebuilt.
Well, even this one you said about replacing the front end. Now, did you make it, or did you take it off something else?
We had others laying around.
Yeah.
And that's what pretty much how we did it. Mm-hmm. We've like I said, over the years we've collected so much, and really, we have them in so many different places, in garages, and like, oh yeah, I think there's one over.
It's like a giant puzzle.
Yeah. You can go dumpster diving in your own backyard. It's like a scavenger hunt.
My dad, I'm like, what's this for? Oh, that's for that Bantam we bought that Cal so-and-so had.
Wow, that's amazing. Good you had memories like that.
Yeah.
No, but we had a guy last month who was building a new old hot rod. And it was the same thing, the hunt, the looking for the parts is, part of the fun of it, really, and trying to remember where all those pieces are and who has what. Yeah. It's cool.
Okay.
What did we forget?
I don't know, probably a lot.
Other than everyone watching needs to get to the museum and see these in person, because they really are cool and they've been really popular. People really do like seeing them. And
I do know, I teach down in Baltimore, and we take this down to a lot of car shows down there, and it's always one of the fan favorites. It's actually in our school's office. Big picture of it's up right in the office to show people. Kind of shows off the automotive program, a little bit of new stuff, some of the old stuff then too. So I can tell you already that this car right here is one of the big eye catchers for people. So definitely come check it out. Something really cool.
They're different.
Yeah.
You don't see them at every car show or anything like that.
So.
Now, and I'm going to put you on the spot here. Now, I know these cars are going to be here for a few more weeks, right? Will the hoods be open on March 10th and 11th?
I didn't ask.
I would have to say most likely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying we'll probably be here, and we'll probably do that.
Okay.
Oh,
No,
cool.
no pressure,
Cool.
That's cool.
No. It's neat. These cars are just neat to see how they fit things into these cars, and the placement of the stuff for such a small car. It's
right.
They don't have a lot of real estate to put things like the other cars do.
Yeah.
They packed it all in a small spot.
They had to be smarter about how they use their space. Yeah. What's really neat. We appreciate you guys coming out.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
This is the coolest story, because we like the ones with the cars are cool, but the family and that makes it something a little extra.
And we definitely appreciate what you guys do here. This is an amazing museum. If you get the time, definitely come check it out. Like I said, it is really cool. Just the history that Pennsylvania has in automotive. I don't think it's known that well, but it played a huge role in the automotive history.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's neat.
Yeah.
Neat stuff, so.
We learn something all the time.
Absolutely.
About hub odometers. So, and actually, that really is about the end of our show.
It is.
So, I will save my "Where have you been lately" for next month for you.
Okay.
Haha, good. That gives me time to make it better.
All right.
I'll go do my homework. And everyone at home, thank you for joining us. We will see you March 10th and or March 11th for a Hoods Up weekend. And then on to Diner Day. And thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next month.